Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Nishmas Mordechai. Check this out, Rabbi Sai.
Guys, check this out. Fresh stuff going down right over here. I don't want to get it dirty. All right. Opening this up. Wow.
Mordechai Berman, an adult.
Another cult member.
A father.
Hashem. A good cult.
A cult member.
I was looking for a tefillin bag, but he only made it for Shabbos. Hello? Custom concierge makes whatever you want. Best of the best. Look at the quality of this thing. Wow.
It is.
Beautiful. Simchas Anatas.
Wow. All right, I've been a member of MDY since Yuma. I was learning that Masechta with my son's bar mitzvah and joined Daf Yomi then. I have continued with MDY ever since. My next son's bar mitzvah is coming up this Pesach. I wanted to have it at the Kotel, but it may not work out for his boy Bayoim, which is the third day of Pesach. So we're going to celebrate it right after Pesach at the Kotel. I wanted to know if we can have his boy Bayoim at the MDY minyan that morning. If so, how do we go about arranging it? Please let me know. I'm laughing only because my son's bar mitzvah is like in a month and a half, and my wife asked me if I did anything yet. Zero. No hall, no, the guard, he didn't start laning. I'm not kidding. And this individual is preparing for after Pesach. This is I don't want my wife to see this email. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be here. Usually, Howie Felderman, I'm not going to be here like during Pesach. Usually, I'm in Chutz La'aretz for Pesach. You're welcome to come here. Everybody's welcome to come here. There's a little bit of confusion. We get like emails every week. You can come without reserving a seat. This is the guest seat right over here. You can come whenever you want. We're on Nachal Noam 9 in Ramat Bet Shemesh. Come one, come all. And I don't know what it means by the Boyd Bayayim, like he wants to lane or something, but whatever, we'll accommodate 100%. Show up. Dear Belly, the story I told recently about Mr. Brandsdorfer who was insulted by the Meshulach that insulted him. The guy insulted him, he gave him $100. It was incredible. You have no idea how this story has helped someone I know who has suffered from verbal abuse, and the story has opened his eyes and given him a tremendous chizuk. Exactly what was needed. What's your name? Aaron what? Back? Shalom Aleichem. From? Where's Ben? Where's your dad? Have a seat. You're in the special seat, Nachman Seltzer seat. Wow. So tell him that we really miss him, and we hope that he comes back. You get it? He comes back. This is exactly what we needed. They came right in the right time. Shkoyach from Yeshua Katz, Manchester, UK. Mechutin of Rabbi Bernard David, and your talents in Sukkah and loving every shear. Kyle Mintz, I wrote in last week and told Daf story. You kindly read my letter. I'm brand new to this year, committed to listening every day. I should be entitled to a free Gemara. I heard someone ask if you can get a free Gemara without them doing inscription, but his question is different. Basically, he wants to know, he has a full art scroll shas, he wants to know if he's entitled to Gemara. The answer is yes. We don't look in your closet and see what you have or you don't have. As long as you don't try to sell it afterwards on eBay, we're good. And for those that attend the liquid shear and still don't get the biting joke, always continue giving this inspiring shear. But boy, I want to show you something amazing. Rafal the barber seems like he was a little taken aback by the fact that Peretz Chaim Levin, what's his last name? Peretz Chaim Levin. It has over 1,000 people that he signed up, and Rafal the barber was the first one, and the race is on. Here he is right now in the pizza shop. What is it? Benji's Pizza. You sure? Yeah. Rafal the barber, Benji's Pizza. But how do I know it's right now? Because every 5 minutes he sends me another picture. I was sitting down here. It was already 7:15. I started putting in more pictures. Check this out. These are the people he's signing up. At the whole family on the left. Here's more people. Okay, and that's all I put in there. The boys, I check this out. Some volume.
Shalom Rabeli, my name is Yoli Charach, Reb Shragi from Beitar Elit, and my name is Fischl from the suitcase. It's not funny. You mentioned yesterday the Gemara says, Hein amo v'koivon amo u'medabre mechetzion. Medabre mechetzion means Somebody that can speak from his stomach like Reb Shragi. It's called in German a Dochredner. In English it's called a how do you say it? Ventriloquist. Yes, ventriloquist. Yes, like what he said. So I would like to thank you. Good day, Rabbi Sai. Thank you for the wonderful shiur.
Zechariah. Beautiful. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masech is sponsored by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. The Parnas HaChodesh Li Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh Li Nishmas Zechrya Ben Moshe. Parnas HaYoim Li Nishmas our grandmother Esther Bas Yehudah Yekusiel, Esther Farkovits, Avrohom, and Farkovits family. The art of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah. Rabbi Sai, we are holding Daf Yud Test by the Mishnah, brand new sugya. Actually, a very, very light kind of Gemara, easy Gemara. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored by Joel Friedman, Nishmas, my dear father, Chaim Avram Shalom Yeruchim, Ben Yisrael David, Olav Shalom. Bakol Koisum. You can write a get with any kind of ink, bidyoy, ink. So, to start off with, this is what Rabbi Schoenberg claims is ink in those days. They used to take one of these and mix it with water until it became some liquidy. You can buy it today on Amazon, he says, if you want to try it out. Here it is. What is it? It's a ink block. Solid ink. They didn't sell it like today, like in liquid form. This is how it was back in the day, like this. Okay. You can write it with that. Besam, with paint. Besikra, with some red stuff. Ubekoimos is gum. Ubekankantoim, according to Art Scroll, copper sulfate. Here we go. Huh? Ferrous sulfate. Not this CuSO4, but F. What?
That's iron.
What do you know about this stuff? Okay, you guys are out of this year. Kankantoim. Fine. Next. Ubechol davar shel kayama, anything that is lasting. Ein koisvin, but you cannot write with loy b'mashkin, not with liquids, v'loy b'mei peiros, not with juices. V'loy bechol davar shein miskayim, and things that don't last. Here in Israel, there were hospitals that used to write with ink that used to disappear, invisible ink. Not so much. It would become invisible after like 24 hours. So they write down, and after a while, after 24 hours, it disappear, and that's a little bit better for Shabbos.
Computers even better. It's not SIBO.
Computers not better. Right. Today they have also the goyim that do it. They have different ways. Ala kol koisim. You write it on everything. Even al ho'ela shel zayis. Even on a small leaf. Here, something like this. You could write a whole get on a ho'ela shel zayis. If you could do this, world's smallest Bible is the size of a grain of sugar. Some Israeli guy put the entire Tanakh on something the size of sugar with a nano whatever. So you can certainly write a get on a Ola Shel Zayis. What? If it's not mechuber. Obviously it's not mechuber. You see like this picture, not mechuber. What? Oh, the nano's not ksiva. Yeah, if you can't see with your eye, you could even, you're not chayiv on eating a bug that you can't see with your eyes, so it's not ksiva. Yeah. This you might be able to grain of oires, of rice. Yeah. V'chulu. The Pri Megadim, he wrote his whole sefer on tiny little pieces of paper. He didn't have money, so he would just write on very, very small pieces of paper. Va'al ha'keren shel para, and on the horn of a cow. Oh, here we go, Rabbi Isai. Who cares the stomach? Here it is. And you just have to give her the cow. What's pshat in the cow? I don't know. It's just my own thing. Maybe it's like a simon, like he says, listen, you're milking me like a cow. Here's a get, kind of thing. Al yad shel eved, on the hand of a slave. Don't treat me like a slave. Here's your get. V'noisen lo es eved. Here we go. Oh yeah, the eved, but he has to give her the slave. Not a great deal. It's better. It's cheaper just to give a piece of paper and Shalom Yisrael. Zok the Mishnah, Rabbi Yosef Aglili Omer, ein koisvin. Lo yal davar shesh b'ruach chayim. You cannot write a get on a cow or on a slave. V'lo yal cholim, and not even on a leaf of a olive. It's considered oichel in a way. Animals could eat it, so you can't write a get on either of these things. Says the Gemara, diyoi, ink, the black diyoi, diyoisa. Something like this, okay? L'saber's oizen. Sam, the paint. Sama. Sikra, what's this red? That's its name, red. Koimais, gum, koima. It's like an Arabic gum. Kankantaim, this copper sulfate, but not with the C, with the E. This, the shoemakers use it for shoe polish to make the shoes really black. And everything. So when the Mishnah adds, and everything that lasts, in addition to what we already said in the Mishnah, different types of ink, if you write it with water that comes from the downspout off a roof, so it's dirty, so you're able, it's still, you can see it's nicker, the ksav will be nicker, va'afza, kosher. Oh, hold on, I have here a picture of samsama, yellow arsenic. Okay? Massing this one, that's samsama. This one is golnut juice. It says over here golnut oil, golnut juice. Fine. If you ground up lead and you wrote with it b'shchor or b'shichur, charcoal, or the shoemaker's shoe polish, kosher. Okay. Itmar, a very interesting sugi here. Hamavir diyoy al gabe sikra b'Shabbos. You have a piece of paper that has red ink on it, and you go over the red, you use the red as your outline. You want to trace it, so you have red, you go over it with black. Rabbi Yochanan v'Rish Lakish Daimar Tarvayu Chayv Shtein. I'll show you. Yoshi did a very nice thing here. I'll show it in the next part. Both of them hold Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. No argument here. Last night we had 4 or 5 arguments between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Today everybody's in agreement. Chayev Shtein. You're chayev for moichek. You're erasing the red by putting on the black, and you're also writing. So typically, in order to be over on mechika on Shabbos, you don't just erase it with a eraser. In order to be over on mechika, you have to erase it in order to write. Over here, it's perfect to be over. The perfect avera. You erase the red in order to write a better and stronger one, which is black. So by one ksiva, you did 2 averas, mechika and ksiva. Chayiv shtayim achashim koisev achas mishum moichet. Diyoy agab diyoy. What about ink on top of ink, black on top of black? Sikra agavi sikra, red on top of red, potter. You hear this? If you take black ink and you just go over a black letter, you're not chayiv. First of all, you certainly didn't erase anything because it was black to begin with, it's black now. And you didn't write anything because you didn't add anything. It was black before, it's black now. So let me ask you a question then. What if you have a whole entire get that was not written l'shma, and you take your pen, you dip it in, we just said that if you go black on black, is 0. You're not chayiv on Shabbos. You take your black ink and you go over each and every letter on the get, thinking l'shma of this woman. You yaitza l'shma or not yaitza l'shma. On Legabi Shabbos, 100% you weren't over anything, it's 0. Probably with the Rabbanah, not a good idea. But midaraisa, it's not a ksiva, not a mechika. What if you go over it with intent of l'shma? You say it is good? Anybody agree? It is good. So the Gemara says, according to Rav Yehudah, it's considered l'shma as Taisvas, but he didn't do anything. He says, Taisvas, yeah. When he came to Shabbos, he didn't do anything, zero. But when it comes to Lishma, he added the Lishma into the words. So he did do something. Okay. Sikra al gabe dyoy. What about red on top of black? Amri lo chayev, amri lo potter, machloikis. Amri lo chayev, moichaku. At the end of the day, he erased the black and made it red. Now, why isn't he over on writing? It was black before, and now it's red. He wrote. What? Yeah, but it's a different color. If he goes black on red, is he chayiv for writing? Yes. Red on black, he's not chayiv. Why? Because it's a weaker ksav. He didn't add anything. He took away. But mechike, yes. He erased the black.
It's under there. It's still there. Why is that open?
It doesn't matter. That's moicha. Right now, it's not there anymore. For now. I bet you if you scratched it off, you're over on moicha on the scratching of the black to get to the red. You didn't get it? And kaisev, exactly. Amr la chayev. Moichaku. Amr la potter. Mikalkalu. You're by destroying, by anytime mekalkal b'Shabbos, you're potter. If you destroy something in Shabbos, you're potter. Midaraisa, chayev midarabana. So by putting the red on top of the black, you're destroying the black. You're not moichak. Boy, menei Rish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. As for Rish Lakish, eidim shein yodim lachtaim ma'u shichtavu lahem b'sikra v'yachtemu ksav elyon. A guy that doesn't know how to write his name, he's illiterate, doesn't know how to write. What's the halacha if we do something like this? First, he's not here today, so he didn't appreciate. You made him a chag, probably. So, he's an aid. Is it okay for us to just do the outline in red? V'yachtemu, and the aid will sign his name on top of it. Ksav elyon ksav, or ksav. Is that considered a ksav? Omalei enu ksav. It's not considered a ksav. So what's the obvious question? Omalei v'aloy lematonu rabbeinu ksav elyon ksav li'in Shabbos. You just told us that if somebody does this exact thing on Shabbos, he's over on two things. He's erasing the red and writing black. He's over on ksiva and mechika. So how come when it comes to eidos, you're telling me it's not eidos? So he says, listen, I never said that if somebody does this exact act that writes black on top of red, that he has to bring a carbon in the Beis HaMikdash. I'm not that sure myself. Carbon in Beis HaMikdash might be chulun ba'azara. It's a deraisa. I can't just tell somebody to bring a carbon when I'm not 100% sure. What I said is, you have to stay away from writing like that. It might be ksiva, it might be mechika. So certainly don't use that l'chatchila for an aid. I don't even know if on Shabbos I would make him go bring a carbon. I said he's chayiv too, but not literally go out and bring a carbon to Beis HaMikdash. That's I guess what Rish Lakish wanted to hear from him. Itmar, eidim shein yodim lachtar. You have an aid that doesn't know how to sign. Rav Omar mekarim lum niyar cholok u'mimalim esakroim diyoy. Rav says, according to Rashi, we had this already in the Masechta, you etch out, you scrape the klaf, and the aid knows how to fill it out. So we do have something. I'm not 100% happy with this because this is more like the other Rishonim. Here, let's go back. This is how Yoshi did it without asking me. Okay. Basically, he takes an X-Acto knife and cuts out the name, and then it's like a stencil. He takes another piece of paper. It's a beautiful job here, but this is the other Rishonim, not Rashi. And everybody says that if you do it exactly in the stencil, then you can't check the edus later. It's not mine. I didn't sign it. I just copied what you do. So he has to do it a little bit smaller than the actual stencil. They explain also maybe in Rashi the same thing, that you etch out the paper, but you do it a little bit less than the etch. Ushmul Omar ba'avar. Ba'avar is like a pencil. You take lead, a pencil, and you just write on, and then he goes with a real pen and goes over it. Huh? Pencil is graphite. In your day, it was graphite. Today, it's lead. The opposite. I know.
So how would that work anyway? Because if the person comes later, nobody's going to know that's not my signature.
That's exactly what I was saying now. That's what they ask. Nobody knows it's his signature. So he has to go a little bit more than that. This illiterate person that doesn't know how to write, he has his own way of imitating other people's writing. When they go like this, he goes a little bit thicker and a little bit out of the line. He has his own style.
20 years from now, someone's not going to be able to say, oh, I recognize that guy's signature.
Oh, good question. I hear. Says, how's anybody going to recognize it later? The question is if he recognizes it. You're right, nobody will be able to do that, but he himself recognizes what he did. He says, yeah, that was me. I could tell from the mess ups. Even in kindergarten, they held me back a couple years because I didn't go within the line. Here, that's exactly where, yeah. Okay. Ushmol Amar Ba'avar. I'm not kidding. My chavrusa, his genius, they held him back because of that. Because he didn't know how to, I think that's what he said, no? He's held back. Even him, you see, he can learn a lesson. He was to be like him. Ba'avar, so what, with a pencil? You go over the pencil. Vatani Rebchia, Ksavi Ba'avar. All these things, you use a pencil, you use lead or coals or shoe polish, it's kosher. So the guy who signed the name, he already signed the signature. You can't go on top of that and make a new signature. Like Kashi says the Gemara, ha ba'avara. Ha b'mayda avara. This is very interesting. Let's say this is lead. If you go like this, the Gemara says it's not good. It's not a good signature. So you could go over it. Why? Because it'll come off. But if you take this and you mix it with water and you liquefy it, then it'll be a much stronger. You take a lead and you mix it with water. Now it becomes ink that sticks to the cloth. That's already what we're talking about. That's kosher. And on top of kosher, you don't want to write somebody else's signature. It's not going to work. Ravo Amar. Again, we're going back to the walnut juice. I think I might have it here again. Why not? You're talking about walnut juice. The what? Kosher. It can't be walnut juice. That what? We that know how to write, we did a little bit walnut juice on a piece of paper, and he came to A that doesn't know how to write, he went over it. But we just said afatza is kosher. Rainwater from the roof, dirty water, and afatza is kosher. So the Bezdin, they did afatza, they ruined the get. They did a kosher signature. Like kasha, ha, the apitz, ha, the loy apitz. When the actual cloth, this is not a good example, but in those days they used to use gallnut on the cloth to produce the cloth, and then on top of that they would write. Now if you're going to write gallnut ink on top of gallnut cloth, what is it going to look like? Nothing. It's going to be invisible. You can't tell that there's any ksa. If you used gallnut to make the cloth and it's really, really dark cloth, and then you come with a dark, similar color and you go on top of it, it's nothing. But if they didn't use gallnut, then it is okay. So we're talking about a case that they produce the cloth with gallnut. Comes the Bezdin, and they go gallnut on top of gallnut. So that's nothing. That's not a good signature. Comes the guy, the illiterate guy, and he doesn't know how to sign his name. He goes on top of what the Bezdin did. That's okay. That's a good signature because the signature of the Bezdin was not visible at all. You can't do gallnut on top of gallnut. Rapapa Amar Beroik. It's pretty nasty. A little spit. And he copied the spit. There was a papa who's into he had a lot of oxen, whatever he did with the oxen. So he told Papa Teira, Beroik, you have a guy that's illiterate, take the spit and go over the spit, let him write on top of the spit. Gittin. So we always have, it's over and over the same halacha, special halacha when it comes to a get. Why? Because here's a guy, a bad guy. He's running away to Chutz La'aretz. He's about to leave his wife in Aguna. He says, here's a get. We look around, we have a bunch of illiterate people working in the airport. I don't know, these guys. He says, come, sign here. he spits on the thing, sign. If you don't allow the spitting, you don't allow the stencils, the guy is off on the next flight, and his wife is an aguna for life. So we're makel for agunas. We allow all these funny things for an aguna. You owe me $1 million. Go find the guy, a normal guy that knows how to sign his own name, doesn't have to stencil it. Says the Gemara, there's a story where they used on a regular star, IOU star, they used imitation signature. They used an illiterate. V'nagdi Rav Kahana took him and beat him up. Amud Beis, sponsored by the Friedman family for our sisters, the Chamaleo Bas, Yibal Chaim Pנחs Eliעזר, and Chana Etel Bas Yibal Chaim Pנחs Eliעזer. We're not doing Zoom, are we? Nah, no trying. Fine. We got. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it well. You know how to do it? Rabbi said Dave Sharfin in the house because Avremi is not feeling that well and Gary has his day off. Dave Sharp, we're trying out Dave Sharp. You want to try? Let's go. Oh, well, that's very good. Matis, how do you know that's Matis? I was here many times. All right, Reb Matis, Shalom Aleichem, go. I can't hear you. Who's on mute? He's on mute? 1 minute. You're on mute, Matis. Now you're not on mute. No, you're not on mute? Mendy?
Sounds like he's on mute.
Mendy's tomorrow. Mendy's going to join us Zoom live tomorrow from his house. All right, you're on mute. Let's hear. Go. No, okay. Rabbi Isai, we love you on Zoom. You should keep on going on Zoom. And Be'ez Hashem tomorrow, when Gary's here, we'll get it right. Okay. Now you can lower it a little bit. Yeah, that was unintentional. Taika will say the Rav. So Rav says that we scratch out on the cloth, we scratch out a name, and he the guy who doesn't know how to sign his name just follows the scratch. We have a brisa that says like Rav. What do we do if you have an Eid that doesn't know how to sign his name? Rabbi said there was a time and place where Klal Yisrael, there were a lot of Amaratzim, they didn't know how to read, they didn't know how to write. I think just up until just almost recent, 200 years ago, girls didn't know how to read. They didn't know how to read Lashon Kodesh. It was they had those Sidurim that in Yiddish, remember? Tzenereno. Okay, so what do? You etch the thing, or according to Taisvus, you cut it out with the X-Acto knife. Fine. Again, this is a special kula that was said by a get. By a eved and other IOUs, shtaris, whatever. Im yodim likrois. This is a problem. Who's talking about reading? We're talking about writing. Okay. Im yodim likrois v'lachtaim chaisman. If they know how to read and write, then they could sign. V'mlav ein chaisman. Kriya mandikar shmei. Whoever, again, this is a sugi that we had already. Whoever spoke about reading, Tesur Mechzer, you're right, it's missing a few words. If an A doesn't know how to read, we tell him what it says over there. In other words, let's say he saw the actual get happening, he saw a divorce, he just doesn't know exactly what it says there. We read it for him, he said, it says Sunday, this, of Sivan, etc. Okay, so he knows that it's good, but he saw the actual act of the get. And if he doesn't know how to sign, so we etch the paper for him and he signs on the etching. That we said already. This is only halacha by a get, not by other stars. Again, it's a special halacha that women of Klal Yisrael shouldn't be left without husbands, without a get. We're worried, we're concerned that this is our last opportunity, we'll never see this guy again. So we'll do whatever we can do to make the get work. The halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that what? That this halacha, that you could etch it and have an 8 sign, is only by a get, not by other stars. And Reb Gamliel says, Ein halacha. The halacha is not like Reb Shimon Gamliel. In other words, it works on everything, on all stars. Velkeman, kirabanan. Right, the last line that we had on Amud Aleph, there's somebody that tried this trick out on a regular shtar. He got beat up. So you see, it doesn't work on other shtaros. Tirgema kriya. You have to say the word Rav Gamda said was on. Here it goes like this, just on reading. Rav Gamda says the halacha is like chachamim. What do chachamim say? That all shtaros, including get, a aid could fill it in after you etch it. A aid could fit. So we say no. That's only for reading purposes. But they need to know how to sign. Memela, what happened over there by Rav Kahana, they didn't know how to sign, and they signed, so you beat them up. But the halacha is like Rav Gamda in other shtaros for reading purposes. If you have a regular shtar, let's say you want to release your eved, and the guy doesn't know how to read. He knows how to sign, but he doesn't know how to read. Says Rav Gamda, the halacha is, it's fine. You read it for him and it's good. But he has to know how to sign. He just doesn't have to know how to read. Tirgamar Kriya. So we have two things. On the one hand, if he doesn't know how to read, it's okay. But if he doesn't know how to sign, it's not okay. And Rav Kahana beat up the one that wanted to allow it even for the signing. Says the Gemara, Maisa, Rav Yehudah mitztar kari v'chasim. Rav Yehudah was old. It was very hard for him to read. But he forced himself. He would take the piece of paper, put it up against his eye, see if he could read it by himself. He didn't want other people to read for him. Amalei Ula, Sula told him, why are you muching zechai so much? Why are you straining your eyes? Do Rebbe Lazar, Mara of Eretz Yisrael, Rebbe Lazar, the master of Eretz Yisrael, Kor Kamei, they would read for him, Bechasim, and he would sign. He himself would sign on something somebody else read. Says Rav Nachman Koru Kamei Safred Dayone V'Chasim. The Soifrim of the Dayanim, the court has special writers. What is it called today? Stenographers. But that's the people that do this. Okay, so the people that know how to write shorthand, not shorthand, whatever they wrote for the Dayanim. So you have a combination here. You have Rav Nachman, you have Safred the Dayanim. Says the Gemara, it's very important, that Nekuda. V'dafke Rav Nachman, v'safar dayone. It's when you have this combination of someone as choshev as Rav Nachman and somebody like a safar dayan. This new Aimsa, says Rashi, Rav Nachman was the son-in-law of the Nasi, of the Reish Golus. And being a son-in-law, he appointed him to be the Dayan. So nobody would start up with him. If anybody was chutzpahdik to him, off with his head. The Reish Golus were tough people. So you have Rav Nachman, who people fear him, and you also have the Safar Daina, the special scribe of the judges. Rav Nachman v'Safar Achrina, if you have a different combination, Rav Nachman and some other guy that's writing, or Safar Dayane, or the special scribes, stenographers, whatever they're called, v'Inish Achrina, but not Rav Nachman, who wasn't appointed by his own shver, who happened to be the Rosh Galos, loy, it doesn't work. You need that special combination of two. Rav Papa, you have an Osil Kamei Shtor Parsa. What about Rebbe Lazar? I hear. I don't know. More than say why. Rav Papa, you have an Osil Kamei Shtor Parsa. When a shtar was written in Persian, the Ovid Bar Koishel Kusim, and it was done in the non-Jewish courts, Makrul Shnei Kusim, he'd bring two. It says by Mikusim, and other Gemaras it says Nachrim, because the censor took out the word Nachrim, guy, and put him Kusim. It's a fake word. It means a non-Jew. In other words, you go over to somebody that speaks the language, a non-Jew, and you say, could you please read it to me? Somebody sent me a letter. You don't say why. You don't say, hey, there's a get. So you want to see if it's accurate. If the guy doesn't make it up, he doesn't realize why he's reading it. He doesn't know the real reason. He's reading it. We could trust him that that's what it says in another language. And it was so powerful. He trusted the non-Jew to tell him what it says in Persian, that he was able to collect the fields that were sold afterwards. If somebody went ahead and bought a karka, and he bought it after this document was signed, he would take it out of them.
trust him. It's like he did two different ones.
Two different Eidim at two different times, two different Goyim, two different times, yeah. As Rashi, what we just learned in the first parak, that you could only, when you have a Persian document, we're talking about Parsai, you only collect from not Mishubadim, you can't collect from Mishubad. So he says, over there we weren't talking about that it was done in a court system. Over here it's done in a court system. Yes, it's a non-Jewish court, but even a non-Jewish court has a call. Everybody knows not to buy that piece of property. You should have been careful when you bought the property. Everybody knows that's already Meshubah to somebody else. Omar Ravashi, Omar Li Rav Huna Bar Nasan. Hacha Omar Meimer. This is what Meimer said. Hayshtar Parsad Chasim Elei Sadi Yisrael. You have a Persian document. They have Jewish signees. Magbinim Beim Mishabde. You could collect from Nechasim Mishuabadim, from real estate that was sold. We had this also, Rabbi Isai, word for word, but they don't know how to read it. It's in Persian. But they know how to read. The Jews know how to read the Persian. Well, you need, how could it be on a document that's from a non-Jewish source? You need a special document that you can't forge. Using walnut juice, and the whole cloth was made in walnut, you can't forge it, because once you start erasing, then you're erasing the dark material on it or whatever, and you can see that somebody forged it. You need, if it's made in Iran, no, they don't do what we do, like all the way at the end of the star, it has to repeat the whole thing. Says the Gemara, yes, they did repeat the whole star. So then what's the chiddush? The kol lashon kosher, that you could write a star in Persian. Tanina, we already learned that. Get ksava ivris ve'edav yavanas. If the actual get was written in lashon kodesh, the signees were in Greek, and we'll see what that means exactly. Yavanas, not today. Yavanas ve'edav ivris, and if the whole star, the whole get was written in Greek, but it was signed in lashon kodesh, kosher. So we know that any language is kosher. What do I need to say it again? Imahi havaminani mili begittin. Again. Going back to the svara, that is a special svara by Aguna. But I think that halacha doesn't apply, that you can write in any lashon you want, even to release your slave or IOU. Kamash Malon, it works for all shtaras. Omar Shmuel, Nasan niyar chalak, va'omar lo harei. Person gives his wife a blank document and says, this is your get, Mugureshes. Blank get. Mugureshes. I'm concerned that perhaps he wrote the entire get with gola juice and it disappeared. Disappearing ink. And Rashi just points out, how do you do it without golnut? How do you make the niyar? It made it out of grass. A different type of meisvei. But wait a minute. Here's your get. She takes the get. She's so upset. She throws it into the ocean. She throws it into the fireplace. First he says, "Listen, I'm divorcing you." He sees how upset she is. She starts screaming. Throws it into the fire. He says, I was just messing around. It wasn't a get. It was a shtar pasim. It says over there that somebody owes me $1 million. He went to his best friend and tells his best friend, listen, do me a favor. I want to look like I have some money. I'm going to show people that you owe me $1 million. I'll never, you know me, I know you. A fake shtar. So he tells her basically it was a fake. Now, could he do that? He already told her, you're divorced, here's a get. A second later says, oh no, it wasn't a get. It was shtar pasim. Too late. She's already divorced. Shtar amana. Again, it's the same thing, but then in the reverse. I owe you $1 million, but you never gave me the $1 million. I give it to you. Says the Gemara Megureshes, the halach is she's divorced. And he cannot say that it's not a get. Says the Gemara, time of the ikik sav. It's because you could actually read what it says. Halek sav loy. But if you gave her a blank document, not. So how come over here now we're saying on a blank document it works? So the article says there's a violet dye, some sort of, they have it today, where you do this invisible ink stuff, and then you come with a violet light, you come with something, and you could see it. I actually have it here. Here. Huh? I wanted to. They sell these things here. You see this? I did it, but it's not. I don't know if it's gonna work. It could be also. I need some water. Here. Hold on. I don't know if this will. Bemis. Oh, it's working a little bit. I don't know if that will work. Yeah. No, it's not working. No good. Okay. Anyways, didn't really work. It's supposed to say, wow, you see, it's unbelievable. The first fail in all these years. It's supposed to say get. I don't know if you could see right over here, but okay. Oh, yeah, but in the back you could be. Yeah. And that's because it went through. Nothing to do with anything. Okay. Akapon, you know what I'm talking about, the visible ink stuff. Says the Gemara, it was invisible, but now obviously when he gave her the get, it couldn't be invisible. You can't tell somebody, here's an invisible ink get, and if you do this and this and that, it has to be that it was visible, and today we just don't see it, so we're going to do a bedika with b'may dinara. Says the Gemara, palit, if the gall nut comes out, great, v'loy palit, lav klumu. Says Gemara, v'chi palit my havi. Who cares that now you could see it? Hashtu the pulp, maybe it just popped out now. Says Gemara Shmuel Nami Chayshin Kama. You're right. Maybe it just came out now, but I have to be concerned that maybe you were able to see it then. So Mamela, she's divorced and not divorced. She's one of these Suffolk divorcees. In other words, she cannot be misyabim. If she falls to her brother-in-law, he can't be miyabim. He has to give her chalitza, etc. Omer Avina. Omer Amei Mahacha Omer Mirei Mishmei Rav Dimi Hanabei Tredi Yahave Gita Kamayu. There were two people who witnessed a get. They didn't sign the get. They were Eidim Mesira. They witnessed the get. Tzricha lemikre. They must read the get. Meisvei. Asking more kasha. Arezi git dechon lat was direct to the yam. We just read that if here's your get, she throws it into the ocean. And then he said, "Oh, by the way, it's not even a get. It's a IOU, a fake IOU, shtar manu, etc." Migoreshes. She's divorced. Asking her a very simple question. If the two Eidim read it, how in the world could the husband say, "Oh, by the way, I didn't give you a get. What I gave you was a IOU"? What do you? The two Eidim read it. He could say whatever he wants to say. He can't. He's not believed against two Eidim. Says the Gemara, the boss of the Kuriyu, so says the Gemara, what happened was that he did like a sleight of hand, like a magic sort of, or it could be he was doing magic. He took the get and he put it in a sleeve or something. And he went like this, he put it over here, and then a second later, here, and he gave it to her. So we don't know for sure if what he's giving her is the original one that they read or it's something else. Okay. Maybe he switched it out. That we're not choishish that. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.